and welcome to another special podcast interview presented by Muppet fan site toughpigs.com. I am your host, Joe Hennis. On May 9th, Kermit the Frog will be celebrating his 70th birthday. Or will he? This is a topic of mystery sourced within decades of misinformation. Investigative journalists at the Tough Pigs newsroom are dedicated to getting to the bottom of this question, and so we are bringing in a specialist. Joining me is the CEO of the Jim Henson Company, executive producer on dozens of TV shows and films, and the daughter of Jim and Jane Henson. It's Lisa Henson. Hello, Lisa.
Hey, Joe, so nice to be here. This might be my first appearance on Tough Pigs. I think it is.
We talked once before back during Turkey Hollow, which was a while
Oh,
ago now.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you probably did a whole bunch of press back then, so I don't feel jilted that you don't remember the phone conversation that we had. But I'm so excited to get into this weird mystery of Kermit's birthday and your birthday. So to start with, before we get into like the actual date, Kermit is celebrating his 70th birthday this year. Either way, that's a true fact. That is what's happening now in
It is,
2025.
there are 70 years of Kermit the Frog this year. And it is also the 70th anniversary of the Jim Henson Company. It's also the 70th anniversary of Sam and Friends. So all of those dates sort of converge this year. So it's a really big year for the Henson Company, for Kermit, for our legacy. It's also, by the way, I know you've covered this, but Kermit doing the commencement speech at University of Maryland this year is a pretty big deal. So
Yeah.
it's a big year for Kermit, you know.
I wish that
Um,
I had gone back to school so that I could have graduated with the University of Maryland class this year just to see Kermit give the commencement speech.
He actually did he did a speech the year before I graduated from Harvard. It wasn't the commencement speech, it was something called the class day speech, which is the day before commencement. They do like a lighter one, and a lot of comedians and, interesting people have done that speech. And my dad did that one.
Hmm.
So that was fun, and we all got to experience that.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. So you being at the Jim Henson Company, it's celebrating the Henson Company's 70th anniversary. Are you guys doing anything special to celebrate?
There are quite a few things going on in which I, oh gosh, I don't know if I can even recount them, whether it's anniversary screenings and a Fathom screening and various fan events. It's sort of a miscellaneous of all kinds of things that we will be touching upon during the year.
That's great because as fans, that's all we really want is we just want, I think we want the recognition and we want to be able to play along, which I think is one of the things that we really love most about what Disney is doing with the Muppets 70th anniversary and, really celebrating a different Muppet every week for 70 straight weeks.
That's
And
so great.
yeah,
Actually, I as a fan and a family member, I gotta say that is sensational that they're doing that. It's also strange that it's Saturday Night Live's season as well, 50th
mm,
season. So it's a sort of a big, 2025 is a big anniversary year all around.
that's true. They didn't invite Henson to play along with the 50th, did they? Because
No.
your dad was there, like I don't think
He
they did
was
anything for the 40th
there,
either.
yes. It
Hmm.
wasn't it wasn't the most spectacular part of Saturday Night Live. So he's definitely part of the history of Saturday Night Live, but I don't, and also those puppets are museum pieces now. They could never have shown up for the anniversary special.
Well, you say that, but then a couple of them were recreated for the Saturday Night movie that came out last year.
That's
So,
true.
yeah, so we could see a little, maybe a tiny little resurgence of the Land of Gorch characters. Maybe.
Some fans would like that.
So, at least three of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about May 9th, and we'll get into what it isn't in a second. But first, what is it to you? What is May 9th to you?
Okay, May 9th is my birthday. So I have lived my entire life like, being wished a happy birthday on May 9th. And a few years ago, I started like hearing about like how fun, happy birthday, Kermit the Frog all over the internet on my birthday. And I was like, this is strange. We need to backtrack, roll it back a little bit. I don't want to be a poor sport, but how did my birthday become Kermit the Frog's birthday all of a sudden?
Yeah, and according to the Muppet Wiki, As far as we know, the first mention was on NPR's Morning Edition in 2005. I have no idea where they got that information, unless it was just the misinformation of May 9th being the anniversary of the first episode of Sam and Friends.
We've done a little bit of our own research. Karen Falk, of course, who your fans already know all about, what an amazing archivist she is. So, of course, she did do a little bit of digging. Um, and yeah, I want the headline is this is not a thing that Kermit the Frog celebrated his birthday on May 9th. And if it was a thing, if it was real, if it wasn't just an internet thing, I definitely would have heard about it before I was over 50. Right.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying. Like it's real now to a lot of fans and it's real to the internet, but it wasn't a thing.
Right.
And I don't I don't know if it deserves to be a thing, but it evidently is one now. Um, so when Karen did a little bit of research, she found out that a calendar was published in 2005, I think, by Disney that showed May 9th as Kermit's birthday. And I guess they must have decided his birthday would be the premiere date of Sam and Friends. So, but accurately, to be most accurate, the premiere date of Sam and Friends, which apparently was May 9th, 1955. I never knew that when we were growing up. We didn't talk about that particularly. But that would most accurately only be the anniversary of Sam and Friends because actually the Henson Company was incorporated, Muppets Inc. was incorporated at a different time. And Kermit was created at a different time. He was created a couple months earlier in March and was used on television in that TV show Afternoon that was done before Sam and Friends. So if you want to say that a fictional character was born, he would have been born a couple months earlier in
This
March.
is, I feel like we're breaking this story wide open. This is fascinating. Okay, so you mentioned that you had never heard of Kermit's birthday being May 9th until you were much older. So you didn't have to fight over birthday cake with Kermit when you were growing up. You never had
I
that.
think that's what is the most creepy about this idea to me is that if it had been a thing in our childhood, like would I have had to share a birthday cake with Kermit the Frog? Like it sounds like a scene out of Edgar Bergen's household.
It's right.
With like Candy having to compete for attention with Charlie McCarthy. And a very big coincidence is Candice Bergen's birthday really is May 9th.
Oh,
So when I was,
really?
yes, so when I was growing up, I was well aware that she had the same birthday as me and that Edgar Bergen's daughter had the same birthday as Jim Henson's daughter. And I always read those stories about, Charlie McCarthy being treated like a real person in their home. And I felt a little bit sad about that because we didn't treat puppets as real in our home.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've always heard is that your dad wasn't precious about the characters in that way, which I guess is nice. It's like, I mean, so my birthday falls on a holiday, so I do have like that kind of like, well, are you celebrating my birthday or are you celebrating the holiday? And so you didn't have the same thing on May 9th of like, well, some people are celebrating Kermit and some people are celebrating me, and it kind of
Never heard of
waters it
it.
down.
Never
Hmm.
heard of it till like in the mid, like 2010 or so. Even these first message mentions that you're talking about, I never heard of that either. So it was sometime in my 50s that I realized people were celebrating Kermit the Frog's birthday on my birthday.
Sure.
Anyway, I
Well, and
know I know I seem like a poor sport about it, but you
no,
know,
everyone deserves to have their birthday be their
even an
birthday.
old person like me deserves to have a birthday.
That's exactly it. No, I don't blame you one bit. But also think a big part of it is the internet, like the internet becoming a thing around that same time where everyone not only can learn the information very easily, but then you have people to celebrate with. Scott, I don't know if like before 2005 or whatever it was, people would have necessarily been like, okay, it's Kermit's birthday. We're all going to get together and we're all going to have cake in real life. But now it's like a share a meme and then we're retweeting the meme and then it goes viral. And now everyone's talking about May 9th is Kermit's birthday, and then it's gone from you.
Yeah. And the internet is so certain as well. So of course I tried Googling that just to see. And I was like, what is Kermit's birthday? And it's like 100% certain that it's May 9th, 1955. Okay. But then it's interesting because those other questions that they offer up for you to click on are like, is Kermit alive? And I was like, let me click that one. It's like, Kermit is not alive. He's a fictional character. It's like, what about was Kermit born? Well, I don't know that answer, but
Yeah.
they do offer you some very strange questions. Is Kermit a boy or a girl? Like,
Oh,
well,
we're getting like
he
philosophical
him?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just strange the questions that they offer you to explore on the internet. But the internet is 100% sure that May 9th, 1955 is his birthday.
Well, and some people know that in the Sesame Street Unpaved book, which I think came out around for the 35th anniversary of Sesame Street, the writer made up the idea that Kermit's birthday is on Leap Day on February 29th. So, I mean, that's just as valid. Like, it's just a made up day.
Yes, I saw online also a picture of Kermit celebrating his birthday with the Rockettes on a November date. And then I also was told that prior to Disney, we used to sometimes say his birthday was September 24th, which is my father's birthday. So, but more to the point, do fictional characters have to have birthdays?
Well, I don't think they have to have birthdays. I think it's not just like it's nice for you to have a birthday and for me to have a birthday. It's nice for everyone to have a little day of celebration, I think. Um, but I mean, more so, again, going back to these calendars, which I mean, whatever, we could debate back and forth whether or not they're canon or not. But specifically, the Sesame Street calendars, for me growing up, always had character birthdays on there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know what the purpose was. Was it just to remind us kids that like, oh, Ernie's out there and he has a birthday? Or are we supposed to do something on that day? Are we supposed to somehow celebrate today's Slimy's birthday? Celebrate however Slimy would celebrate his birthday.
Interesting question.
Hmm.
So if you were me, would you just give your birthday to Kermit?
Ooh, that's a tough question because, like I said, it is nice. Again, speaking as someone who shares a birthday with a holiday, I don't like
Wait, what was
sharing.
your who is your birthday? Is
I'm
it
I my birthday's
Mr.
New
Jesus
Year's
Christ?
Day.
No, okay. No, it's
Yeah.
how okay.
It's New Year's Day, which is it's sometimes nice because people stay up late the night before and there's fireworks, but then the next day it's like, I don't know, everyone's celebrating something else
Yeah.
or they're staying home. Nobody wants to go out. It's kind
That's
of
a big
miserable.
that I feel you've carried that burden your whole life, whereas I've only carried this burden for a few years.
Yes, this has been my birthday for my whole life so far. Uh, but at the same time, I think it is nice to know that your birthday is being celebrated by something that's larger than you. Like I do appreciate the fact sometimes that my birthday is January 1st because it's easy to remember. It's the first day of the year. For you, it's like people might remember because they already know that May 9th is supposedly Kermit's birthday.
Yeah, I can tell from how entrenched it is on the internet that I'm going to have to either give Kermit this birthday and I won't celebrate on that day anymore, or we are going to have to share it. That's very hard to deal with. Um, I do want people to know that my parents were not the kind of people that would have me celebrate my birthday with Kermit. That never would have happened.
That's
At
and it's
least
that is
let's
good
at
for people
least
to
let's
know.
know that. Let's at least
Yes.
know that.
Yes, you are not the Bergen family.
No.
Right. Well, so that does beg the question. Uh, if we could change Kermit's birthday to something where, like, if we were going to tell, like the Disney company and the Henson Company were going to come together and say, okay, we're going to agree on like what Kermit's canonical birthday would be, what would we change it to? And this may be a question more for someone who's like really into astrology to know.
Hmm.
I don't know anything about astrology, but if someone was going to say like, oh well, he really has the characteristics of a Leo, it's like, oh, well, that kind of narrows it down a little bit.
Well, apparently on one of the Muppet appearances, they said he was a Taurus, but that was only to say that he was a bull and would therefore be a bullfrog. So it was only a
Right.
joke.
Yes.
But May 9th is a Taurus sign. Hmm. I don't really know. I mean, I have to admit, I think I think the train has left the station on this probably.
You might be
Um,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
and maybe you could also say at my age, like, I don't really need to ever have a birthday again. Like, I think I just gonna like wave the white flag and say I'm done.
Well, I mean, that could be a loophole too. If you do get to the point where you say, like, look, I really don't want to celebrate my birthday anymore. So you know what? When people come over and they think they're celebrating my birthday, we're just going to say it's Kermit's birthday and we'll have a green
You're
cake.
making me feel better about it now. I think that, yeah, this is a good approach. It's like I have to
Yeah.
see the silver lining. Like, and I, I'm not around forever. Kermit is around forever, so he will take over the birthday forever, and
Yeah.
I'll just give it up early.
You and Candace Bergen can get together and you can watch everyone else celebrate on May 9th. Um, well, I also wanted to ask, we talked a little bit about, what your parents didn't do on your birthdays, which, as you said, was not celebrate Kermit's birthday. How did you celebrate birthdays when you were young?
We didn't have a lot of big birthday parties. First of all, I think kids' birthday parties were so different in those days than they are today. There was no arms race of, who's got a bigger birthday party going. We didn't have bouncy houses or pony rides or any. Candy Bergen had pony rides. I read about that. She had a very, very classic Beverly Hills childhood that was really magical to read
Wow.
about. I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved reading about her childhood. But no, we were just we had like a normal suburban scene with really small birthday parties. And when we were young, living in Greenwich, Connecticut, we didn't even socialize that much with other kids. We were with each other a lot. So we had 5 kids, and that sort of made a party in itself. When
Sure.
we were younger. As we got older, like we did some birthday things. It wasn't too much of a big part of our lives. Christmas was very, very big in our house, and that was a big opportunity to get the giant Christmas tree that my father would cut down in the woods, and we would drive up to a big Christmas tree farm. He would cut the tree down, the biggest one that could possibly fit on the top of the station wagon. And then, it was decorated with every ornament you could possibly find because the trees were so big.
Wow.
And we made a lot of Christmas ornaments. That was a very, very big festive time for us. We also celebrated Easter, a lot of handmade decorated eggs. I think birthdays a bit less.
Yeah, and we think a lot about your dad as being such a brilliant creative mind, but your mom was such an artist as well.
Hmm.
And so I assume that a lot of that stuff, especially Christmas and Easter, being at home with her and with all your siblings, I bet she was a big part of that.
She really was. Easter was her holiday. Christmas was my dad's.
Mm.
He he was a big he really loved the buying of the presents and getting the right balance of like something big and fabulous, but something tiny and perfect and beautiful decorations, making ornaments of all kinds, whether they were beaded ornaments or we made those baked ones where you create like a sort of what looks like bread dough, create ornaments, and you cook them and they become hard.
Oh,
And
interesting.
they look beautiful on the tree. They look like cookies, but they last forever.
Wow.
So he was very Christmassy. My mother was very Easter. And, we did decorated eggs and had a big collection of Easter decorations and, beautiful little baby animal, uh, little whether it's stuffed animals or China animals, candy animals. They were both fabulous holidays for us.
I love this little peek inside the Henson house. It's a
Hmm.
nice treat. Um, so I have a few questions for you that are actually not related to birthdays, just because it's been a few years since we've spoken. It was such a treat to see you on my television the day of the Academy Awards when Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won for Best Animated Feature, and there you were on stage.
Yeah, it was the best. It was the best. It was actually such a literally a dream come true. And you don't dare to dream that you really will get to go up on stage at the Oscars, but when it happened, it had that surreal feeling like, oh my God, it's really, really happening now. It's so special. We actually had a wonderful time with Pinocchio in the award season because Guillermo made such a special film that it won every award. And so it was like a romp through the award season, a victory lap and a romp that everybody had fun. And, there were some other good films, but at a certain point, we knew he was going to win them all. And he was he's such a delightful, incredible person to spend time with. It was a very special time for us.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. He seems like a nice guy, and the film was amazing. I truly, truly loved it. Deserved
15,
deserved
15
everything.
years in the making for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's got to be nice too for something like that to pay off.
So many movie projects are like that. They just take forever. And sometimes we feel like fools, like, why are we, oh my God, we have to find a new financier for this. It'll be the fourth one. It happens on a lot of projects. And sometimes you think, oh, am I just being naive thinking this is ever going to happen? So when something does come to pass after 15 years, and is brilliant and is a classic, it kind of gives you a bit more faith in the whole roller coaster of creative development.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so, and then speaking of seeing you on my television screen once again, you got a great cameo in an episode of Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock that I
I
just
think that's more of an Easter egg than a cameo.
okay, fair. I think it's like a little bit of call me a little Columby. But so you appear in a photograph uh of Doc shaking hands with the dean of her university, and
Getting
you
her
play the dean
doctorate. Yeah.
getting a doctorate, right? What a joy, first of all, just to see you on screen, because there's only so many of us who know what Lisa Henson looks like, who are watching the show, and so that was obviously for me. That was just for me to see and enjoy. But can you tell me how that came about for you?
John Tartaglia he's just a softie. He's one of you guys. He's a fan in addition to being an incredible showrunner. So all these ideas come from him.
Great, that doesn't surprise me one bit. And I think a lot of people are curious about the future of the Jim Henson Company's offices, which is an
Mhm.
interesting thing just to be curious about because it's just a place where people work, it's not a public location. But can you give us any update about how things are going with sale, the move, the anything at the
Yes,
current
we
office?
sold the lot at the end of 2024 to a wonderful partnership of John Mayer and the director Mick G. And John Mayer, who has been working in the recording studio here for a long time, he actually kept his offices here and he spent a lot of time in the recording studio. And so he now, as co-owner of the lot, is kind of running the recording business. And McG loves Hollywood history, so he is already doing some beautiful work on the lot, restoring the gardening, the landscaping to more the Charlie Chaplin aesthetic, which is exciting. And we're still here on the lot till, we made an arrangement to stay for a year so that we could find, appropriate office space, but we're not ready to announce where we're moving. But we will be moving before the end of the year to another office.
Great,
Hopefully it will not be officey. We are not like officey people. Hopefully
right.
it'll be homey and creative and a little bit special because, we don't fit in an office tower.
Right. You have a reputation to uphold, of
Exactly.
being the kind of place where like this kind of, Henson-y, Muppety magic happens. And I think the thing that a lot of fans, by which I mean myself, are concerned about is a lot of the things that you have on display, like Kermit as Charlie Chaplin, and some of the artwork that you have, the relics. Are you going to make sure that there are homes for all that as well?
Of course,
Great.
we are so proud of the archives. As I said, I was talking about Karen Falk. Like, we take care of our collection very well, but we also have a smaller and smaller collection of artifacts and puppets, as so many of them have been donated to the appropriate museums, which is really what we wanted to see happen, you know.
Yeah.
Once we decided not to do our own museum, which is a decision that we made in the mid 90s, we did a full study after my dad passed of what would it what would it look like to, actually we had considered turning the offices in New York City into the museum
Hmm.
on 69th Street. And it just didn't pencil out at all, because the building couldn't be made ADA compliant. It didn't really have an elevator. It didn't had like three toilets and the whole. Anyway, it just wasn't going to work.
Hmm.
So once we decided not to have our own museum, we have worked with Bonnie Erickson and Karen and a number of other really skilled people at cataloging and understanding our collection, and then carefully giving all the pieces, all the really important historical pieces, to different museums. So we have a few things decorating offices, but it's not a big collection,
Fair.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I just
get it.
wanted to review all of that, like you needed to
Yeah.
know.
No, of course. Well, look, it's all important to us. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for being here and for joining us for this conversation. It's great to get the record straight about what May 9th is and what it's not.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for wishing me a happy birthday. And it may be the last time I celebrate on May 9th, so that was it's good. We'll mark it on the calendar.
Yes, we're going out with a
The last
bang.
we're going out with a bang. The last birthday.
Exactly. Well, happy birthday, Lisa.
Thank
And
you.
happy birthday, Sam and Friends. If we're not celebrating Kermit's, we'll celebrate Sam and Friends and Henson
Exactly.
Company. Yes.
Exactly. Thank you.